You know, I have no rhyme or reason to be recording. I'll personally say that. I have none. I am literally just doing it just to do it. But the funny thing about it is that I think I should start recording whenever I play games because it gives me a chance to do things like this, you know, show that my reactions to characters, but also like reflect on what I think about in the past and compare it to the present. By translation, it's more therapeutic than anything else. Therapeutic? Um, a chance to review my mental state. So this is a case where, if people are listening, hi, hello, this is Ground, welcome. Um, I don't know why you're here, but welcome to Ground Plays Risk of Rain 2 with aimless abandon, as he, has moments where he either works on his writing, does his writing, nothing, does, talk about random stuff when it comes to him learning about game development, or completely veer off into his insanity. I don't talk much, and I think what I'm going to be doing here is just literally talking. That's all I can do. That's all I know how to do. To get something done on my own end. And that's what it's going to be for literally this experience. It's just me talking mindlessly into a endless vacuum where there's probably no one listening, but if they are, then someone is torturing you probably with this. Dear God, I say I feel sorry, but views are views, right? Just depends on how you get them, I guess. If this is how I get my views, beggars can't be choosers, right? That's how that works. Beggars can't be choosers, and in this case, I sure in hell ain't gonna choose. But I sure in hell can't even select on who I could beg from. So, I have a long list of characters to play. So let's go with the original, the boy, Commando. I will say this. This will inevitably spiral into chaos. And I am doing this to make a point. I have 222 mods on. This will not function as intended, most likely. And this will probably crash a lot. But I will enjoy it how I can. By playing the base game with only one specific artifact on. And that, I've actually forgotten what the artifact does. Oops. Artifact of Potential. I remember making a stream a while back talking about, mods and everything else, and talking to someone about, their version of the specific mod. I think this is their version, actually. Because after thorough testing with multiplayer, they may or may not have been correct about it. About how theirs are better for multiplayer, and the other one's more for single player, because randomization allows for more accessibility. And however, consistency prevents chaos through, well, desire and selection, I guess. Yes. I will agree with, I don't know why that happens, but that is such a blue ballser every time. I should probably say today's date, huh? For the sake of it being, since this is logging. Today is a Wednesday, 2022. July 27th. This is for future me, more or less, right? I don't know how many minutes I'm in when it comes to the recording, but this is for my future me to know, in case he's needing to keep track of everything. Because if we're still doing this in the future, interesting, but also, hey, at least we were doing something consistently, right? That's neither here nor there. So, Risk of Rain 2 on Monsoon. If you had noticed, there was one higher difficulty, Inferno, if I remember correctly. I'm not doing that right now. Purely because I can't do that with Commando. Or really anyone. For my knowledge, at least. And if I can, it's probably with only one specific character that's consistently Huntress. And that's because there's a specific loadout I have with Huntress that allows me to traverse like a madman and move like as if I am a chimp with crack. Wow, this was utterly useless. Lens Maker Magnifying Glass. Literally, if you've played an MMO, this is literally your wet dream. Because critical damage up, finally. In this game, wow, it's not like that was already made by the laser sight. Oh man. It is a struggle to try to prevent not prevent, but more to talk into or veer into my complexity of my mind. So let's start with today. Today is honestly a very hot day. A very nice day too. I woke up around maybe 6? No, 4 AM. So I woke up pretty late. And I've been doing that quite consistently lately. I don't think I've been sleeping too well, but I've been sleeping enough to where I don't feel like I'm wanting to take myself off the senses, for more colorful wording of suicide, I guess. Not to say that I would commit it, it's just more of a case of a feeling and expression rather than an actual desire of action. If that random selection of words made any sense, of course. So, as a person who feels that kind of way, or felt that kind of way, it's an improvement from that feeling originally. To know that I am not wanting to completely and utterly end my own life because of the fact that I didn't sleep for long enough and wake up feeling at least somewhat alive. I just realized the situation of the scenario of that. I feel dead, so why don't I make myself dead? Dude, just get a coffee. Right? Just take a shower, right? It's funny, now that I'm thinking about it as reviewing my own words. Fun fact, this should be a very frequent thing for y'all to understand that I'm going to be doing this a lot. Because I talk to myself, aka I talk to, well, literally myself. Instead of the usual, for YouTubers, me, my audience, me and my audience, it's me, myself, and my audience, right? In the case of, oh, right, there's I have a mod for enhanced or boosted elites. I didn't realize, I forgot about that. So I just saw those thunder things came out of the beetle and I was scared for dear life. I couldn't move for the life of me because I'm really slowed by the weights from the Goku or Dragon Ball mod. But yeah. Oh, this was not the smartest thing I've done today. Maybe I should have picked up some of those weights after the teleporter effect. The teleporter event. I have a lot of wild mods. There's UI, obviously, which is shown. There's... oh, come on now. There's enemy mods, which will be seen. There's quest mods, which... Brain stocks, stage 1. That's a doozy. Man, I need water. I need a lot of things, actually, not just water. Water, my fan to be on. I'd say music, but I probably don't need music. For the sake of copyright, right? Like, dude, like, I probably shouldn't want to turn on music. And Riskreen's music's not the worst, obviously. It's one of my favorite games, but we want Chris here, after all. Chris does make great music, it just comes later. It doesn't come immediately in the early portions of the game. It's unironically the case with both RORs. They don't have their best songs in the early game, they have the best songs later in the game. Which makes sense, because that means that time goes on, things are getting more intense, which means the music itself will also be more intense, but also therefore more thematic? You know, feeling like as if you're really getting into the rhythm of everything. Getting that intensity in which you're really going out there and trying to survive. That's neither here nor there. So, Risk of Rain. I'm going to personally say this as I have not played this game for myself, I will say, or by myself in a hot minute. I used to originally play this a lot with other people. This is one of the few times I've played by myself purely because I want to. And the only reason why I'm doing so is to explore a state of escapism, but by myself, if that makes any sense. Play a game by myself that I know I'll enjoy, have complete experiences in, while not being completely fucking confused or forced into a form of repetitive thing that I myself don't enjoy. I enjoy the repetitive cycle of combat that is this game, therefore I will want to play it again, because the combat is fun. Which obviously keeps people coming to this game to begin with. The combat in this game is interactive and fun. Well, it's obviously interactive when combat is usually supposed to be to physically go up and whack something. But, nonetheless. It's been 3 minutes already. Jesus, man. If I was trying to actually play this game like it's supposed to be played, I would have already died. That's interesting foreshadowing from my own perspective. I also didn't pick the proper item. I'm my own worst enemy. There was a chip that literally, if you kill an enemy, 5% of your health comes back, and I chose Rusty Jetpack over it. How nostalgic are my eyes? Why do I think of Risk of Rain 1 All the time! Ooh. Okay, but like, can you not? Ooh, okay. What if I just... Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, this is worth it. None of these are actually, I'll take you. Oh, well, this is awkward. How about I say, I have no way of properly training my shit, so I won't be able to use all my potential. Then remember, I have Kaioken. I don't care. What? Rob? Oh. Did 57 League Core really just trigger that early in the game? The fuck? I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just ow. Oh my god. This is what I meant by I am I am made to I am made to offend myself. That, I could have easily reversed that situation, but I didn't because I didn't pick the right rare item. I should have used Nerga Feedback Ring, but I don't have any, meds for that, healing for that. That's what I should be saying, not meds. Why I thought of meds. Like medication. Like, okay, me. I'm about to say okay, Greg. I mean, it is technically one of my online names, so it's not wrong. Because it's Ground, it's Greg, and it's Sleepy. It's really weird. I tend to have, like, it's a case in where the quote-unquote case of when your life is the internet, do you know if the life outside of it is still an extension off of that, or is it vice versa? Separating the identity between who's supposed to be where makes things difficult, especially in young age. Exposure to into the internet without actual actual guidance on knowing what you should take in and take out of those particular quote-unquote own worlds leaves the person with a struggle of self-identification with difficulties. That information probably went nowhere for anyone but myself, because it was really just an explanation on, I guess, a part of how I feel. But also could be just an example of the whole thing about self-identification is hard. Because struggling with the idea of being who you are is hard if you don't know who the fuck you are. And if you don't know that, then no one can know. But it's funny because in a contradictory statement, you could also say that if everyone in the world had came together to meet you, they could form that person you believe yourself to be. Because every single one of those people was a part of your story building up to who you are in the future and the present. So there is someone, you don't know who that is. And that's for you to figure out by by trying to break through and understanding why you became and react the way you do. Fighting your own identity. I'm talking too personally about something that really shouldn't matter, but it's whatever. I didn't realize that, but there is two sides of me that are constantly at a state of flux. That are just repeatedly doing exactly what I am doing. Where it's just one side doesn't care, the other side does, but the one side that doesn't pushes and shrugs over the other one, causing a state of, no change? Because there's just a case in where there is a crash in care, but there's just this case of immovability, because neither side can agree upon it, therefore nothing is taken. Indecisiveness in its own form of way through a case of inaction. It's an interesting thing to, I guess, verbally express without no direction being going on about. I don't know why I need a therapist. We can talk about it and go through all of it. It's kind of the point. Yeah, it's kind of the point. It is really hot in this damn house. No. Give me these jelly shoes. Jelly souls? Jelly souls. And Berserker's Pauldron. What? And you are? Oh. I will become a powerhouse of my own form. I should probably start turning off this particular artifact, only because it makes it seem like as if this is all ultra easy, when it's not in its true base state. Because with more items means that more enemies are capable of fucking with me. Because it's a case in where oversaturation can happen. With me just doing this, because then I'll have barely any void items to exchange. I should probably start working on actually making a mod pack where there's only void exchangeable items, so that I don't have any, case where there is an oversaturation, where there's not enough items that actually are in place to be able to, I suck at talking, holy wow. So where there's enough items that are void converted that there isn't a oversaturation of items in the item pool. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it. And I guess that'll be the point of the next episode of this, if I decide to do another episode. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Am I gonna make it truly episodic? Am I gonna make this more like a when I feel like it, or is it one of those cases where I do it because I'm using this as a form of escapism to document my own mental disability and have it be saved for a later date in case things have to be picked up for other people to understand on how I am. I guess that would allow for people to get why I am. that made no sense. That's not at all how it's supposed to be. But I guess when you think about it, when you say you are as you are, it's a case in which there's an argument that, or no, you're fumbling. Slowing down, slow it down. You got this, to slow it down. Okay, shit. Fuck. God. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my god. Yes. Yes, you are. And about how, when it comes to the question of how do I, you know, explain that you exist, is like Yahweh, or I think therefore I am. Or I believe therefore I am. I think that's what that is? What that is? I'm not entirely sure. It's been a long time. I'd say a long time, but a few months isn't technically long, but it's long enough for my mind to forget. My highly constructively deteriorating mind. Let's welcome ourselves to this place. This is a place that breaks a lot, which is why I probably should start working on loosening up on the number of mods I have. Not mods, yeah, actually correct mods. I don't need that. I don't. Yeah, I can take one of these. Gimme. Yeah. Okay, let me not fuck this up then. Wait a minute. Isn't this... Yeah. Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna stay here for too long. I'm gonna give myself a 2-minute limiter on this. Only because I know how ridiculous I can get with this. I'll just take these two and just be on my merry way, to be honest, because I don't need to stay here for that long. Was this a smart choice? Probably not. But I was never born to be an intellectual. Actually, I kind of was why I was kept, because I was a child that was destined to be some weird, intelligent dumb fuck. But I consider myself stupid. I kinda am when I do that. Okay. So, speaking of being stupid, this is a place that I know that no one has seen me do. On camera and off. Modded wise at least. Or if I have, it was because why is there items here? Oh, Sanguine. It's a... Sanguines are newer elite types, so just a, I guess, FYI. But y'all kind of would have assumed that. It's based off of imps, which y'all would have also assumed that if y'all at least knew something about your brain. If not, and you're new, why are you watching me? Why aren't you watching Rayquaza? Or Wooly? Like, what? At least Rayquaza, because Rayquaza at least isn't like Wooly where he has a lot of opinions. Like, because Wooly is kind of the quote-unquote face for Skirrain too. Which I don't mind if anyone's questioning that, all my opinions on things like Wooly or the debates on, you know, what's the best way of playing the game. It's all completely situational, but if I had a gun to my head, I would say I'm fine with Wooly being the face of Skirrain 2, and personally, I don't care about what version or way you play. It is a matter of preference, and we are not here to efficiently or effectively play the game. We are meant to enjoy the game. That is the point of why the game was made. This was strictly stated by the developers. I don't know why we ever have conversations about what is the most effective play, because I don't know why we're trying to make everything efficient, especially in a game like this, where efficiency, while possible, is not the main point of this game. A game like this does not care about efficiency. A game like this cares about survivability. That is the point. Now, if you're saying efficiency in a matter of survivability, once again, that's based off of two different ways of play, without ignoring the possibility of skill gaps, or, you know, knowledge and stuff like that. Once again, if that's the case, I'm probably going to sound like the broken record of everyone else who probably has played this game as long as they have. You're most likely going to see a case where a lot of people agree that items outweigh the destructive potential of the enemies, or the attack capacity of the enemies being able to kill you. I don't know why I'm saying this all extra when I could literally say, well, the possibility of the enemies killing you is a lot lower if you take all the items compared to the vice versa, where you do the rushing method, where you only stay shorter amount of time for the in stages, but you have less items, but you also have weaker enemies. Like before, both arguments are valid, and they both have upsides and downsides. Neither are wrong, and neither are not supposed. And both sides are supposed to be more respected and considered as suggestions rather than actual factual things, where they both have downsides and upsides to their particular arguments. So they're supposed to be considered as options and less of a end-all be-all, this is an absolute. Because supremacy in a game is not something worth a dime. Although I guess if you're trying to leave your mark on the world, you do want to try to leave something irreversible, so... or something that can't be challenged. But that's kind of the funny thing about things that are left on the world. Things that are left on the world often are challenged because that's what allows evolution, or freedom of speech and judgment and criticism, and rethinking of original ideas. Those things is what lifts up the next generation to create something new, something more innovative, or even more effective. What creates, well, obviously Risk of Rain. Or fucking, I don't know. Just, I guess, name off almost anything, I suppose. I don't really have any good examples at the moment. My brain is, well, frying out because I'm talking out my blipping ass. That's kind of the point. I'm literally just doing it just to give myself a space to speak. Even if no one's listening, I know I was given a chance to speak mindlessly. You know, now talking about mindless things, I guess I could talk about machines. Or, not machines, but the difference between particular forms of autonomy. And not in the way of sentient autonomy, but a more weird or abstract form, where things are capable of moving without any form of internal mechanism, but a spiritual tool or a new ability. Like magic, right? Technically it's a magical, but it's a external rather than an internal. I said an external originally, but I meant internal because internal would be a machine, would be a mechanism that hardwires on the internal of it, which allows it or enables it to do what it does with the internal. The external will be the reverse of that. Yeah, I made a mistake in even speaking, obviously. I'm now rethinking what I said, but the long and short of it is internal. Machine, sentient life, right? Organic, inorganic, by the basis of AI and machine. That's the internal. External, magic, spirits, you know, eldritch beings, which, unironically, eldritch beings are capable of doing both internal and external forms of that, but that's because eldritch beings are cheating bastards that can just do anything to their own degree. Same with gods, right? They're capable of doing something else. Bestowing life, that's what it would say. Or bestowing sentience. A thing where they can create a core that will be the internal mechanism, despite them being the external means in which that core functions, being an external and internal simultaneously. Why am I bringing this up? I know that's probably a question being brought up while listening to this rambling. Reason is because I'm a person who writes and creates a lot of different things, and one of the things I do is write different factions or story histories, and I'm pretty much bringing up the functions of how one of my characters work. And while it's a mindless statement and there's no direction where it's going, this is me just merely spouting on how that character functions. That they are a being that functions off of external means. At least originally they did. But later on have now an internal means of survival or autonomy. They're known as a quote-unquote war machine or war statue. A glass statue that gains sentience for the sole purpose of destroying anything that is not known as beautiful or organic life. That was empowered by the aspect of beauty. In the long and short of it, it's a literal metaphor, not metaphor, but a very romanticized form of World War II in its own way. However, it comes with another level of nuance, with the idea of if those that used to be quote-unquote Nazis would have also been able to become Jews. Or, by translation, if the organic dolls, known as arts, or the organic statues, correction, known as arts, are capable of gaining biology, or, purpose beyond their purpose, I guess. A mind, self-awareness, morals, a sense of self. That particular thing is what my character is based on. The idea of if that happened. Which, of course, it did in regards to their story, because they do. Because obviously, if not, then this wouldn't even be talked about. Like, if it happened, no, it obviously did. In the case of this particular world. I don't know enough about World War II to know if there was a Nazi that, you know, changed his heart or anything, because that sounds a bit... It doesn't save the Nazi by any means, right? But it doesn't mean that they at least had enough open mind to question the life they were living and show enough potential or potential compassion to change who they were at once they realized that what they were doing was self-destructive, potentially, or um, horrendous in his own form. I don't know why I'm talking on a subject that I know is just completely dark or deep and not my place. I'm just doing it because my mind is, as always, wandering. But back on topic. So, Arc, or the broken Arc that is known as the one that gained sentience, originally was externally powered by a being of beauty, or the being of beauty. Later became a an entity that was powered by an internal mechanism, the very ugliness the being of beauty wished to destroy, which was the creator of all life. Right? Ooh, spooky. A creator of all life. Or the birther of all that's ugly, and creator of pretty much also the most ugliest things, usually known as Eldritch Abominations, the unfathomable, the unbelievable cosmic fear. Yeah. That is what the Arc, which later was known as the Bio Arc, had allowed in. Or, I'd say allowed, but it was more by force. As the Arc, while self-aware, was still loyal to their creator. To her creator, I should be more specific. Only at the very end, when knowing the truth, did she regret what she was doing. But it was already too late. Of course. In a weird way, I should also explain this, where, technically speaking, no one won in the end, because technically the being that created all life now exists within her, as she's now considered a representation of all life. And the individual in the beauty, or representation of beauty, that wanted to end the creation of all, or creator of all life, doesn't die, because that creator is now the very warrior that destroyed them, or attempted to, I should say. Bestowing, like, core self-awareness. It's funny, really, how that works. The very thing you swore to destroy, you became. Although, the reason why you were planning to destroy it was because of someone else. Someone else wanted you to. They created you to do so. They wanted you to do so because they couldn't do it themselves. A real realization, or something that came into a realization, is a lot of the recent stories that I have been writing or associating myself with has been a consistent theme of a lack of self-purpose. Not self-purpose. Well, a mix of self-purpose, but also another thing in where the character that is presented are doing something for someone else without knowing why. And it's funny that I'm now picking that up because it's been like that for, I would say, 2 years. It's a subconscious thing that I did. And it's also a representation of my own doing, on my own life to a degree. I'm doing these things, but why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? I never questioned that. I never asked myself, well, why am I helping people? Well, why am I doing these things? And while there's a case of where, yes, you do enjoy it, but if it causes you so much strife and pain, it still needs to come into question where if it's worth doing. The three characters that are that I'm pretty much putting into the foreground that really reminds me of that is, unironically, the two main stars, aka known as CL and Newt, but then later on as well, or actually before them, in chronological order of the stories, that was in regards to the timeline with the universe itself, but what came before them was BioArc, with Newt being known as the main character in his respective period, and CL being considered a creation of its father after the failed birth of the original child. Both all three, or I should say for the stars, both are creations of individuals that, for lack of a better word, slaves. Created, bred, forms of slaves. Groomed to a state of, servitude, but also with a purpose in mind. They were war machines. Like BioArc, or Arc, which later became BioArc. Without a question on why they did what they did. Why they were fighting. Sometimes people make characters, or develop characters, out of a way to express themselves. And an expression of doing so allows for greater personality. Or not a greater personality, but a form of release and freedom. A case of blowing up a world without actually doing so. Pressing the button on the great nuke without actually doing any external harm. Destroying whatever relationships you could have had with anyone without actually changing a thing in the real world. Also, these frames are dropping so dramatically, I'm about to question my own choices. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, in his own funny way, this does remind me of my own life. The three characters being a representation of three particular portions of my life in its own way. Blue, or CL, being a representation of the naivety and excitement of, well, life itself. The wonder, the relaxed nature and general identity of Cretaceous individual. Someone who's, in the beginning, very much okay with helping others. Only later on, as time goes on, with the rug being pulled from under the individual, does that particular feeling change, turning from a sense of wonder to a sense of confusion, but also existential horror, where the identity of who you are is coming into a terrifying question of are you really who you are? That is Blue in its totality, really. The existentialism of, am I really alive? Am I really who I said or meant to be? Am I supposed to be who I am? And yes, you're seeing this right. I'm stage 4 already. Here. I don't know why. I am taking it as it goes. I don't know what's happening. No, please let me kill you. No, please let me kill you. Yes. Okay. But the oh. Hello, Moon. But the funny thing about bringing this up, oh, I say that without even realizing that I never finished the other portions. So Blue, due at the height of his existential crisis, I guess you should say, or identity crisis, I should say more, also definitely. After Newt came into the picture, or during Newt's introduction into the picture, turned from a singular entity into multiple, being of multiple different statements, believing that maybe this is who they're meant to be, being a Cold War general and person that's supposed to just be capable of doing anything, being anything. Another side where they're supposed to be this calm and collected, well, female, exposed, vulnerable, warm, opening, and comforting. Always reserved, always quiet, but always there for the other person. And there's still CL, where they're supposed to be this pacing where they're still supposed to be this excited, flirtatious, and open person that's supposed to be capable of doing anything in their own way for others. And always ready to be the hero of the day. This flux of different expressions of one identity is, well, rough, to say the least. Especially, what is happening? What, is my computer okay? Are you okay, computer? Are you good? My computer okay? I can't tell. It doesn't seem to be liking itself right now. Ow. Ow. You are thoroughly screwing yourself. I am definitely making a smaller mod pack after this, because holy shit. My computer is not holding up well. I think I'm gonna call it the Items of Void mod pack, because it is specifically just for void, corroded items that can make things, make the list smaller and more sizable and stuff like that, so should be easier. Okay, I might get moving, because this is getting ridiculous. This is definitely getting ridiculous in regards to the lag. I don't need lagging forever. I guess I'll talk about the topic about the whole nudes and the blues and art being all representation of my own Struggles another time. It's fine though, honestly. I didn't really need to be talking about that. It's a bit too much. Writing the struggles is a case of escapism. It also means that usually something's wrong with the person, potentially, but it happens. Should I leave enemy mobs on? It's supposed to be for the new mod pack, so that's the reason why I'm questioning it. Can I, like, choose? Cool. Wait, the Void wants me? I mean, I guess I could take a visit. No. Mithrix. I don't need to worry about the Void. I visited the Void already long enough. I don't need to see any more purple. Besides, I need to listen to this song. Oops, I kind of fucked that up a little bit, didn't I? More than a little. Well, okay.